Well, good morning to everyone. In the interest of time, we want to honor your time for being on time and get started. Xochitl and I have wonderful things to share with you within this 2 hours. We do also plan to take a break. This meeting is being recorded, and so it will be available to you through our website at a later date. It is PTA Council, PUSD.org. So again, I want to welcome you. I am Allison Crawford. I am serving as your council president this incoming school year. And we are here to provide you with tools and resources to support you as our PTA leaders in Pasadena Unified and encourage you, check in with you, and give you our best support that we can offer you through this challenging climate. So with that said, we're going to continue.
Good morning, and I'm Xochitl Martinez, VP of Leadership. Welcome and thank you.
All right, next slide. So this is our mission if you've never seen it in print. So our mission is to support the establishment, development, and maintenance of vibrant and cohesive parent, teacher, student organizations at Pasadena Unified School District schools, leveraging the diversity of viewpoints and wealth of resources within the Pasadena, Altadena, and Sierra Madre community. And we will strive to provide all PUSD students with a superior education. With that said, we have a small video. We want you to always remember why you're a PTA volunteer. Let's see. Are we losing the audio? Oh, there's Miss PTA.
You can't really hear it, Allison. I don't know.
You can't?
Yeah.
Yeah, Allison, one thing I just recently learned, when you go to share screen, there's a little checkbox down in the corner that says share audio also. So I think if you hit the share screen.
All right.
I had a 6th grader explain that to me.
Well, fantastic. I appreciate it. No worries.
I need my glasses.
This is also appears on your Eventbrite registration. Is the audio better?
You need to hit play. Okay.
Can you hear it?
I need my glasses.
You might have to like stop sharing and then check that box Jeff says, and then reshare. It's not coming through.
Okay, well, no worries. We'll move on from this because I don't want to hold you up. But this video is also on your Eventbrite invitation. So my apologies for that. Xochitl, take it away.
All right. So this is a PTA. Okay, now of course I lost all my words. So we have a safety net and basics. Just a quick review. How many of you have been president before? Just a quick show of hands. Oh. I think all of you. We've all been president at one point, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is just a quick review. So you're not just the unit president all by yourself at your schools. You have a big support team. We're at the unit here. You have questions or concerns, you go to our council. You know, Allison is president for that. Then we go to first district, then it goes to California State PTA, then it's the National PTA. And the National PTA is the largest child advocacy in the nation. I'm so nervous now. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So you have someone to rely on. You're not just alone navigating your way through. You have resources. There's people that you can email, text, use Morse code if you need to, that you can readily access. Part of your membership dues is that your leader, part of your membership dues entitle you as leaders, not just as presidents, to access other leaders with the knowledge and experience that they are happy to share. National PTA is the largest child advocacy organization in the nation. We are, here are some resources, including your job description, links to the PTA Council of PUSD, First District of PTA, California State PTA, and National PTA. They are a wealth of information. Please click on them at a later time so you can go through them. And if you can't find what you are looking for, please reach out to us. I want to remind you that our policies include that we are non-commercial. That means that we don't particularly endorse one business. Restaurant nights or fundraisers are different, but we don't say, oh, well, let's go to XYZ market because our mom on the PTA owns it. We go to XYZ because they have sales, or we go to ABC store because they have better sales. We are non-sectarian. That means that we welcome everybody from all religions, and we are nonpartisan. We have no views on any political parties. You can, though, you cannot endorse candidates, but you can, as a PTA, endorse school bonds and parcel taxes, and there are ways for you to do that and support that. Study and support that, but we do not endorse individual candidates. You cannot use your PTA title, past or president, on your unit's board for political gain. Bylaws. Your bylaws are your PTA's GPS. They will help guide you and your unit on how things are run. Read them, love them, live them. Next slide. These are the must-haves that you have to have as a PTA. The required forms are your conflict of interest form. These are the different forms that are required by our IRS, by the California Franchise Tax Board, and also by the California Attorney General. These are not because PTA wants them, it's because they are non-profit laws that need them. There is a new form that your treasurers will not be familiar with. They are new to this year, and it is the Form CTTR1 that we will talk about at the treasurer training and later this week. And also there will be a training just for taxes for presidents and treasurers and auditors at one of our council meetings. The PTA positions, these are required by nonprofit law and must be filled. So your president, treasurer, and secretary. If you don't have these three positions filled, you do not have a PTA. What PTA requires is a parliamentarian, an auditor, a historian, principal, and a teacher representative. Optional but advised is your executive VP or a vice president, a specific one. For example, I'm the VP of leadership, but you can have a general VP who is your right hand to your president. And of course, you have optional financial secretary and correspondence secretary if you have a large unit and you just need a little extra help. Allison?
All right. So you are the face of your PTA in your school community, and we want you to know how important that is. Everywhere you go, had you been able to see the video, it'll say, hey, PTA lady, hey, PTA mom, hey, PTA dad. that becomes your identity for a while until people get to know your name or they visited a meeting. So just always be mindful of that, is that you are the face of your PTA in your school community. And that carries a lot of weight, a lot of responsibility, and people are looking up to you for leadership and resources, and especially during this challenging school time. So I just want to remind you and encourage you of that. And as such, the next slide is going to talk about the responsibilities. So here it comes. There we go. Sorry, wait. Okay, so
I just want
right.
to take a moment here that many hands make light work. I want to take a moment to remind you that you are a parent leader, but that doesn't mean that you get to do it all. Spread the wealth. Have other parent leaders and volunteers shine. Delegate, delegate, delegate. Otherwise, you will burn out. Go ahead, Allison.
So, president duties. You are the communicator. You have to communicate. And find out from your board, what is the best way to communicate with them? Some people like emails. Some people like to receive a reminder text. Some people would appreciate the phone call. I have asked all of our council officers to reach out to all of our PTA unit officers who share the same or a similar title. So by now you would have received an email from me, probably two, and I have probably left you a voicemail message. Some of you were on vacation. So if I reached you, thank you. If you got my voicemail, nice to finally meet you online. But you are the person responsible for communicating information to your PTA community. You're going to oversee and coordinate the work of your executive board, and always get their input. Always ask questions, check in with them, get their concerns. And they also can help give you input into when you set your agenda. So find out, what the pulse is with your board, communicate with them and ask questions. You will always be the one to preside over your PTA executive and association meetings. And so if you're not available to do that, then you need to delegate to the next VP that's in line according to your bylaws. You're going to approve all material in conjunction with your school principal prior to distribution. This is very important because as your PTA puts out information, you want to make sure that it is accurate, that it is concise, that it is up to date, that it meets the requirements of PTA. And you can find a lot of different logos and marketing material on the CAPTA website to make things flashy. So that's always nice to know. In the event you don't have let's say a board position elected, then you will be the person that would appoint, and your board would ratify, and also you would present that to the association for a vote of approval as well. So when you have these vacant positions, you're the person who's going to be responsible for appointing chairpersons and committee member appointments. So keep that in mind. And so that's why it's important for relationship building as well. You always want to put people in positions where they can use their strengths or where you can build them up, okay? That's important. You'll also serve as the ex officio member of all committees except for the nominating committee, okay? So remember that, you're always going to be that go-to person, and you want to make sure you're always knowledgeable about the different committees that are part of your PTA, because people will come to you for questions. And if you're not able to answer them, let them know that. Okay, say, you know what, I don't have the answer, but I'll get back to you. Let me see if I can reach out to someone out on council. And if we don't know, we do have mentors who also mentor us, but we will get you the most helpful and concise information. Okay, so next slide. Go ahead, Sochi.
Okay. With your financial duties, become familiar with financial procedures. Don't just rely on your treasurer. There are sometimes extenuating circumstances where the treasurer may not be able to put together a report for your association meeting, or doesn't have the checkbook or whatever. Please make sure that you are familiar with them. If not, become an expert. you sign payment authorizations. Your treasurer will come up with your forms to sign. Please go over them. Don't just blindly sign them. We do love our board and we trust our board members, but an extra set of eyes is always needed, especially when it comes to our financial overseeing things. You sign the contracts. As president, you and a second signer have to sign contracts. And I'll go over how to sign contracts correctly. You're also an authorized check signer. There has to be 2 signers on each of the checks. I will say that a bank will cash the check if there's only 1 signature, but for insurance purposes, if this procedure is not followed and you have to submit a claim, your insurance may reject it because the procedure was not followed. You as a check signer, you cannot be related by blood, marriage, or live in the same household as the treasurer or your financial secretary or your third signer. Let's talk about contracts. We all have contracts, and as you can see in that corner picture, I think most of us have some kind of a book fair on our campuses where contracts have to be signed well in advance. Before any contracts are signed, your association has to approve it. You can't make an executive decision between your board or just yourself to say, yes, this sounds like a good plan and let's do it. That's a big no-no because then you will be held personally responsible. All contracts must be signed by 2 elected officers, one of them being the president, and you have to sign your contract the following way. Otherwise, again, you will be held personally responsible. You will sign it ABC PTA by Allison Crawford, President for 2020, 2021. And your second signer will sign it ABC PTA by Sochi Martinez, VP of Fundraising 2020, 2021. Practice if you're not comfortable, but this is the way it has to be signed. Allison. And then you'll see the beautiful animations I put on here.
And just a reminder, there is training this Thursday with Xochitl and with Angie, who is our council treasurer, and they will go over all these in-depth details and forms with you for 2 hours, and you can ask your questions, okay? So again, this will also be offered again on Saturday. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to place in the chat box? I'll do my best to facilitate those between Xochitl and I towards the end of our presentations. But if you think of questions, go ahead and please put them in the chat so we can continue with you.
Allison, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
The chat box is disabled.
No, okay. You should be able to send us a message. Are you not able to?
It says chat disabled for me. And anyone else?
Okay, let me see. Hold on, what's going on here? Let's see. All right, did that work for you?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And thank you for your patience as I'm navigating this as well. All right, so again, your president duties, you're also a collaborator. You're the lead collaborator. So I encourage you to collaborate with your other parent groups that are on your campus. Invite them to meetings. Make sure you give the meeting notices at least 10 days in advance. Make sure you're communicating with staff. Make sure you're on all of the calendars that go out with your school so that people know when PTA meetings are. If you have a website, please let us know at council so we can add you to our council webpage with a hyperlink to your PTA. Let's see. Be sure that you do attend all council and district meetings that you're invited to so that you can receive information. Our council meetings are the 4th Monday of the month at 6:30. Everything is on Zoom at this point. And later in this presentation, all of the dates will be on the slide. To follow up with that, you'll also receive an email from me to give you the Zoom link at that time for the actual meeting. So I will do my best to send it to you the at least 10 days prior to the meeting notice, just as a reminder with the Zoom link. Also, you're responsible for the annual report, your volunteer hours. So this is something that's compiled by your historian of your unit. And so because I am responsible to share this information with First District, I will begin asking you to tell me a monthly tally of your hours. This will make it a lot easier when I have to share out reports, to let things, to share information with our First District. I really want to be able to highlight what your unit is doing. And so I will be asking for information from you to help me to compile the council president's report, because we don't exist without our PTA units. And so I want to make sure you are included in the information that I'm communicating forward. You'll have other association duties that are assigned to you. And at this point, because we are not meeting in person, there's no telling what that might be. PTA has been volunteered to do a lot of things. Right now, we're looking for support volunteers to help with the food giveaways, the grab and goes at school. So if that's something that you'd like to volunteer for, I know we have an opening for Thursday. And if you're interested, put that in the chat box and I will make sure our person that's on council who's helping to facilitate that will get you that information. But there's so many different things that we're being asked to do right now as parent leaders. And so again, you know, take on what you can take on, but always share the ask with your board, because if you can't do it, perhaps there's someone else who is available. Meet with your principal regularly. I would encourage you to introduce yourself if you haven't already, and you know, let them know when your meetings are, your goals and visions, and ask them, you know, how can we collaborate? How can I support parent engagement at the school? What's your vision for PTA? How do you see us moving forward? And make sure they know that they are also a default member of your board with voting rights as well. And again, you're the official representative of your PTA association. So I can't remind you enough to continue those collaborations. So as I had said before, you know, make sure you're communicating with your principal. Make sure you are upholding school district policy. Be positive and enthusiastic about your school. Report on the wonderful happenings that are going on at your school. Support your curriculum and school programs. And right now, the only PTA program we're able to offer is Reflections. And so if you have a Reflections chair, hopefully they have connected with our council Reflections chair at this time to get that information, as you would need to register your PTA for participating in that program. You can also visit our council website, and there is an actual page dedicated to the Reflections program, so information can be found there, okay? Continue to promote family engagement. Remember, you're a member of, you know, the executive board, and people are really leaning on you to be resourceful and have information. So just open yourself up to just knowing more, reaching out to people. I did provide a roster of our PTA unit presidents. So if you want to reach out to another school or contact someone, please do that. And I ask that you just don't share their information without their permission. If we can keep that contained within PTA, that's great. And just communicate openly, be frank, respectful. When you don't know something, tell the person you don't know. And just, you know, find the answer for them, because that's what they're looking for you to know to help them move forward. Schedule your regular meetings. It'll be a lot easier for people to attend online these days. Make sure people know, give them advance notice. And as Xochitl said, just approve all communications prior to distribution. You want to make sure you're disseminating clear, concise, and accurate information on behalf of your PTA.
If I can just add a little something for your communication distribution, make sure you put your PTA logo on everything. That way your parents and community members know who this is from, what this flyer is for, and if they have any questions, they know to reach out to you.
All right, next slide, Xochitl, for you.
The principal and you. No, that's what we just did. We just did that one.
It's coming.
Okay, well, getting started. So It looks like it's a lot, but it really isn't. We can break it down. You have your board orientation where you know, introduce yourselves, get to know each other. You talk about your goals and your programs. You have your family engagement and fundraising, your membership and your budget. They all work together and intermingle. Go ahead, Allison.
All right.
So when you're doing your board orientation, this is going into the next slide.
Okay.
When you've got your board orientation, be frank about your ground rules. You know, if it's something that you want to focus on as a board and change the way the school, what's the word I'm looking for? The school feeling is, lay it out. There was one year when I was president at Longfellow, I felt that our board was going more toward the negative than the positive. So that first year, I made it very clear. This year we are positive. I only want to hear positive things. There's no gossip. There's no back, you know, hitting. None of that ugly stuff. We just want to be positive. And it turned the way the community treated each other, not just us as board and our members, but also it reached out to other parents and who were happy to join such a positive organization. Review your bylaws with your board. Like I said, read them, love them, live them. Those are your oh, I'm so sorry, your GPS for how you are running your board and the membership. Know your insurance guide. Also, share that with the whole board. That way there are 3 different sheets in that guide, yet you have to know there's the green sheet, the red sheet, and the yellow sheet. Just like a stop sign or a signal light when you're driving, the green light is go for it, the yellow light is proceed with caution, and the red light is absolutely not, because your insurance will not cover it. For example, we had a jogathon one year, and there was a wonderful idea of doing those little poppy things as the children were coming to the finish line. I called our insurance to make sure that we would be covered, and lo and behold, those little poppy things that you get at the 99-cent store or the grocery store are considered a firework. So if, heaven forbid, one of the children got hurt, we would not have been covered, and then you as a board would have been liable. One of the things also is that you might want to start is putting together procedure books. We have terms, our positions are 2-year terms. Sometimes our board will only do 1 year, sometimes they'll do the 2-year, but as we stay in our school and continue on to other schools, you're not leaving the knowledge that you've learned for the ones who are following you. Get that book together for your fall festivals, for your book fairs, for your jogathons. Write down who you contact vendors for, what insurance papers you need to share with your main office so they can give to the district. Make those procedure books as detailed as possible so someone doesn't have to recreate the wheel when that same event is going to start up. Next slide, please.
Sorry.
When you're with your board, those first couple of meetings, go over your goals. Learn what your community needs. Work out what programs you want to have. Look at your PTA calendar along with and by this time you should have already met with your principal to get your calendar on the main calendar of the school and yours together. Look at your timelines also, not just for events, but for forms that need to be turned in for taxes, or if you're having a raffle, you need to get that that permit into the California General Attorney, along with your fee. So look at all of that and your first 2, and share it with your board. So in case for whatever reason you're not able to do it, someone else can follow through. I added, like I said, I was a PTA president at Longfellow for a couple of years. So I included a sample sponsored event sheet there, something that you can have at your first few association meetings, so your parents know what is coming up when. And if it changes, it changes, but at least they have some kind of guide to look at the beginning of year. of the year. And one of, if I want to backtrack a little bit, is one of your goals should be to increase your unit membership. It was a survey done a few years ago that said, if your PTA is strong, then your children flourish. They're better at math, they're better at reading, and they learn other skills quickly, not just because you are involved, but because other parents are involved. You, as an involved parent and leader, make your whole school community better, and it will trickle down to every individual student. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, here I have a list. Hold on, I've got a list. Let me just read my list. Increase unit membership, enhance outreach and communications, build stronger family school partnerships, promote PTA benefits and activities, engage families from all the neighborhoods, advocate for campus safety, celebrate diversity, and practice inclusion, especially during these uncertain times. Improve student health and wellness. This should be some of the goals that your unit should be working on. Allison?
Okay, I'm just responding to a question in the chat about the insurance guide. So I put the link in there as well.
Thank you.
And there's another question about the mailing that you usually get. You actually can request that online this year, as it's not going to be mailed. And you'll see the link. It will appear in our Q&A slide that we have coming up in just a little bit here. So again, if you have questions, please continue to put them in the chat box, and I will read them and field them while Sochi is speaking. All right, so let's see. There we go.
One more. There we go. So family engagement and fundraising. PTA is not a fundraising unit. That is not their purpose. We do fundraise for the programs that we sponsor. And I just want to remind you the 3-to-1 rule. 3 programs to 1 fundraising event. So most of us have restaurant nights. So that's not just one restaurant night. That's all of the restaurant nights that you sponsor as fundraisers at all the different restaurants in your community can be considered just one program. So that one program will hit that one fundraiser will hit 3 programs. It'll hit your parent-teacher coffee Friday mornings. It will do your reading nights with the principal once a month. I could do something like your kindergarten or welcome coffee also. Those are 3 different programs. It also includes any, the things that you do in the auditorium. What are they called? Assemblies, thank you. Assemblies, and sponsor class field trips. Get your students involved. We do love our students to be part of the PTA. They will also have a vote. Membership. Your membership goals, like I said earlier, your goal is to increase membership. Even if it's by 1 person, that would be a win. Have a year-long campaign. One year we did Minions, and the kids loved it because they got a little sticker with their membership card for their parents. Develop a plan, and the whole board has to help with this because it's not just one person.
And to add to that, we have been able to get support from First District, and we have added a membership and totem training this Saturday. So hopefully all of your membership VPs have heard from our council VP, Lorena, and our First District Vice President of Membership is going to offer that. And I had said to her, I said, I am so sure that 2 hours is going to go by really, really fast with all of the questions that people have about totem. So bring all of your totem questions. And if you are not able to attend that training, please send a delegate, please send a proxy, please send someone from your PTA unit. And if you have questions, I will be happy if you email them to me ahead of time. I will send them to her so that she also can field some of those questions in advance as she's preparing for the presentation on Saturday. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to have someone from First District help facilitate a training for us this Saturday. So thank you again, First District. All right. Do we have any questions, comments? concerns? Anything else? I don't see anything else appearing right now in the chat box, but again, if you do have a question, please, I want to take the time to answer those right now while you are live and we have you right here with us. It's a little bit easier to do so. So again, please ask us. We're here to guide, support, and assist. And the next slide here, it's coming. All right, go ahead, Zochi.
Let's talk about budget. So you have your treasurer is the chair of your budget committee, and your budget committee can be whoever you appoint, but generally it's the treasurer, the president, the fundraising person, the programs person, and sometimes your membership. So before your first association meeting, you should have, or your first association meeting, you should have gotten together with this group of people and worked on your wish list. How much do you need for, for these programs, these things that you want to do and accomplish? If you want to put up a new marquee on your school campus, how much do you need to raise that year? Right now, during this pandemic, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but we're also getting very creative. We may not, like I saw earlier, Don Bonito is sending little goodie bags to their incoming kindergartners with a t-shirt, a book, a little welcome to virtual campus gift. So these are things that you can also do. Like I said, we're all getting creative. And while we're getting creative, you need to make some money. You need to figure out how to pay for these things. So with your treasurers, the treasurer-elect, this is the person, the outgoing treasurer, should communicate with your incoming treasurer about how much money is left in the bank after everything's cleared and after everything's deposited, so you have a little cushion to start with. You're bored with your wish list. You should be able to submit ideas. Talk about your income and expenses, your preliminary budget, like I said, your wish list. Your budget is a living document. It will change. Sometimes it'll change month to month. Sometimes it'll change every quarter. But you can't do anything. You can't buy anything. You can't pay for anything until it is approved at your first association meeting. And here's just a budget sample. You can create your own on a spreadsheet. You can do it by hand. You can use this form that CAPTA is providing, as long as you get it in writing somewhere that your whole association can see it. Go ahead, Allison.
Okay, sorry.
Those little chat boxes are a little distracting to me. So how to run a successful business. We all have our PTA president voice. Don't make us use it. So, and some of our parents are very impassioned, and we just have to rein in that passion. So here are some links with suggestions from CAPTA. That's the California State PTA Board. The California State PTA, and on how to run your successful meeting. So we won't go into that, but go ahead.
Okay.
And if you need a little help, we can always, as guests, attend your meetings and help guide it. We've done that in the past, and we're happy to do that via Zoom as well, not just in person.
All right, so are you seeing this slide? It says dates to calendar, because it looks like one of my computers is behind the other. Zochi, can you
I can see it. I can see it. I can see dates to calendar.
Okay, very good, because one of mine it's a little bit behind the other one. So again, just wanted to remind you of some dates to calendar. Particularly this evening, the California State PTA Summer Virtual Leadership Academy, Session 3 started yesterday. So council officers are actually really busy all week between work and juggling school, family life, and everything else going on. We're also participating in the evening session so we can be better informed to share information with you. I sent this as a link to all of our PTA unit officers, so you should have received it, to encourage you to participate in these sessions The cost was only $20 and it would cover your entire PTA board. There is a really informative session tonight at 6 p.m. on family engagement. And so I hope that you've already registered for it and you'll be able to join that this evening at 6. So regarding the dates to calendar, as I said earlier, our PTA Council of PUSD meetings are the 4th Mondays of the month at 6:30. And they begin on Monday, August the 24th. I will be sure you have a Zoom link ahead of time so that you know when the meetings are and you can share that information out with your PTA board as well as PTA community at your school. September the 28th, October the 26th, November the 23rd. There is no meeting in December. Happy holidays. 2021 will be January the 25th. February the 22nd, March the 22nd, April the 26th, May the 24th, and June the 28th. So because we do not meet in person, I wanted to provide each PTA unit with an opportunity to be highlight things, and I want you to serve as a host during our monthly association meetings. So if that sounds like something you are interested in doing, I want to extend the opportunity to you now and ask that you speak with your board and select a date based on our calendared meetings and get back to me, because you're not able to host in person, but I want you to be able to host on Zoom with us. And so I'm extending you that invitation today. I hope most, if not all of you, will accept. And if we can even have 2 of you per month, that would be wonderful to share what's going on at your schools and highlight things, share your best practices, challenges, things that are working or not working, how parent engagement is going at your community. We want to hear all about it. And so please, 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 please accept the invitation and again, speak with your board, of course, and let us know as well. Okay. So are there any questions? I'm looking in the
Yes, just to quickly answer Angie's question there, council will set up the Zoom link for the association meetings and the school host as a school host.
Correct.
So that will be taken care of. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And you'll be provided that with, the 10-day advance notice, if not sooner. Our goal at council is to be able to purchase a Zoom license. So that is in discussions. It'll be part of our budget that we will talk about with you when we meet on the 24th to vote on that, so that everybody has access to a Zoom license. And so our goal is to be able to purchase one to better support you, our PTA units. But that's something that'll be forthcoming and we'll need to vote on it very soon. Okay. All right. So, Sochi, do you want to talk about this?
Well, there's different things
Forms
that are due
to council.
Yes, there are different forms that are due to council before we can take them up to state. No, to first district and then state. So you
Yes.
have a quick list of the dates here, and you can just follow the link to it to get familiar with the forms. But there will be a document available on our first association meeting on the 24th with the dates, with specific dates.
Yes.
There's also, if you look
from
at
first district. Yes. Excuse me, Zochi.
No, that's okay. So there's also, if you go to the CAPTA toolkit, there's a link there for Spanish version of the majority of the documents and explanations. So if for your board members that have a little difficulty with the English language, or English is there, that just sounded so wrong, I apologize, that are learning the English as a second language, just to make it a little easier, there are Spanish versions of these things. Go ahead.
Okay. And so as Zochi stated, you'll see where it says list of due dates. This form, as soon as I get the dates from first district, I'll populate it and I will make sure it's available to you so you can share this out with your unit and your officer, so that they know when they need to turn things into you as the president, so you can get it up to me on time so I can forward it on time. Okay. And if we're missing something, I'll ask one of our council officers to just reach out to you to help with that communication and just making sure we get all the information we're supposed to send and we send it on time. Okay. This calendar that you're seeing, it actually is part of a service mailing that usually would come in the mail to you, but it's not being mailed. But again, as I said in our Q&A slide, the link will be there. So you'll be able to see that. Okay. This is your PTA Council Executive Board roster. I highly encourage you to reach out to us. I have highly encouraged our council officers to build more communication with our PTA unit so we are better connected, especially in this climate where we are not able to meet in person. And so if you have not heard from your council officers by now, you can send them an email and give them a call and say, what did I miss? What information do you have to share with me? What's the due date? When are we going to have a roundtable discussion? Because I know we had a PTA President's Transition meeting for those who were able to join us. And we talked a lot about different things. And so we want to continue those discussions so that you don't feel like you need to wait until there is a association meeting to hear from us or meet with us or speak to us. We are here, we are available. And I certainly am here, I am available, and I want to make sure you know how to contact us. We do have a new website this year. So again, if you have information and things that you think that we should put on our website, please share that information with us. If you have a link for your PTA, please make sure we know about it so that I can hyperlink it and add a page for that. You'll see everybody's name, position, their email, and their phone number. We have a Google phone number, yay. So that will let me know if somebody's calling about PTA versus, a personal call. So, share that information out, use us, contact us. This next slide is the Q&A and some resources for you. Sochi?
So yes, on Saturday, we're going to have a Q&A section in the afternoon. And please, if you have any questions, email them to us and we'll make sure to address them during that time. Also, I think we're almost done with our slide presentation, so we'll have some time to answer some questions also. Register for that Q&A at that link there on Eventbrite. What else? I think that's it. Our first board meeting is on the 24th. Please don't forget to come.
So if everyone can unmute themselves at this time. Do I need to unmute you or you can unmute yourself?
You want to stop sharing or do you want to keep it up? I don't know.
Oh, there's one more. There's a couple more slides here.
Forget?
Oh, okay.
There's a couple more slides.
Go ahead. There's just two more.
Oh, where'd it go?
It's the reflections.
Oh, the reflections. There we go. The reflections, our contest. Nolina Costa is our council reflections chair. It's coming up. You have the theme this year is I Matter Because, and there are seven different categories, including the special artists for those who are in our special ed programs. So please, there's a link there so you can get some information, but Nolene will be contacting you soon. These entries are due to council, I believe at the beginning of October, but that's not set in stone. Again, Nolene will reach out to you. Allison? Thank you.
Alone, we can do little. Together, we can do so much. This is a quote by Helen Keller. So I want you to guide you all as unit presidents, as PTA leaders, as parents, to always remember that we are together in this COVID journey. It is an unbelievable time that we are living in. And so thank you so much for stepping up. Thank you so much for volunteering. Thank you for stretching yourself, because this is a time where we are stretched thin. And thank you for your openness to serve as the PTA president right now. So we will lean on each other. We will support each other and call and text and chat. There's so many things, that people are looking for us to shoulder. And so, as I said, you know, talk things over with your board, know what it is you can do and can't do, but reach out to us as your council officers because we are more than happy to support you. Again, thank you for attending our PTA council training. And we want to open it up for questions. And if you guys can all just unmute yourself, might be a little bit easier than me going back and forth to the chat box. So if you would like to speak, if you can unmute yourself, we'd like to hear from you.
Don't be shy.
I did. I just typed a question. I don't know if you want to stop sharing so we can all see, or I don't know, maybe you can still see everyone.
All right.
I was wondering if we could go like walk through how a president leads votes, like how we, I don't know, that always stumped me as a president, like, okay, we have to vote on something or when we need to vote on something and then how that process is done.
Okay. So that would lead me to the Robert's Rules of Order. So this talks about, and this is very brief. It's really just 2 pages. It says Robert's Rules of Order for Beginners. It talks about the call to order, a motion. Business is resolved at meetings by voting on propositions put forward by members. Such propositions are called motions. Any person who is eligible to vote at a meeting may make a motion. So within PTA, you had to be a member for at least 30 days. Again, any person who's eligible to vote at a meeting may make a motion. And we'll make sure we send you this information as well. This is a document I received. I'll just have to scan it so that you can have it. I can email it and also put it up to our website. This talks about how to make an amendment to a motion. It talks about making a motion to amend, a motion to table, if you need to make a motion to reconsider. Some of this information I believe should be in your bylaws, but if it is not, you know, please review it and let us know. But we'll be happy to share this with you so that, there goes
Angie,
the timer.
Angie, are
Yes.
you asking how to do the motion? Like
Yeah, I was kind of like thinking
okay,
like the
so
script.
So
not
real
the
quick,
script.
real quick, there's 6 steps, just super quick. First, there's a motion. So the person, whoever wants to make the motion raises their hand or however gets their attention.
But can the president make that motion? No.
No.
Mm-mm. It has to be someone else on the floor.
So the president first
Another
has to
board
ask.
member can. Yeah, the president asks for the motion. Is there a motion? And then someone else, including any of the other board members, but not the president. Then there's the second. So another member seconds the motion. You reinstate the motion so it could be noted in your minutes. If it's not written in those minutes, it never happened.
Okay.
And be careful with the verbiage that you use. Don't leave it open-ended to interpretation. Make it for dummies. It is clear and detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a discussion? Ask for a discussion. If there isn't, continue to, then you ask for a vote. As president, you ask for the vote. You reinstate the motion, you ask for affirmative votes, and then your negative votes, or if anybody's abstaining from voting. And then you announce the vote. Yes, this motion passed unanimously. If there is no quorum, you can say we do not have quorum, but it is passed unanimously by those who attended. Again, be very careful with your verbiage. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I have a question
Hi,
along
Matt.
these lines. Hi, Matt, incoming president at Jackson. So
Welcome.
I am assuming for the Zoom meeting, anyone can attend whether they're a PTA member or not.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
they can, but only a paid member can vote, and only their votes will count. So
Okay.
you do need to take attendance via Zoom meetings also. So you can assign one of your board members to write down who attended if it's a small group. Otherwise, you can ask your participants to write their full legal name in the chat box and go back, and I don't know if you can screenshot it or if it's recorded, I'm not familiar, but there is a way to get that information. And that will
I
be
see.
your sign in for your meeting.
Okay.
And
So that
will,
way, like if there is a close vote, then we'd have to go through that to make sure only paid members voted.
exactly. It's a little
Okay.
time consuming, but it's that's how we have to do it in this time. And
Very good. Thanks.
when that attendance sheet has to be attached to your minutes for that day, for that meeting.
I had a question. So last year we started where we had our minutes signed by the principal, by the secretary. And so how would we do that now since we're, virtual?
So thank you
Well, I
for
can
bringing
answer
that up.
that. Okay. So I was your former council secretary the past 2 years. So the way I signed them is on PDF. You can add a signature.
Okay.
Yes, and so if you come, if you have encourage your secretary to come to the secretary training, that'll be Thursday for 1 hour in the evening.
Okay.
And also offered on Saturday. They're going to go over that, but as the former council secretary, I would add my signature via a PDF.
Okay, right.
So
Okay.
another way to do it is CAPTA is suggesting that you get a wet signature, the real piece of paper with a real pen, and then you can scan it in and send it to your secretary or your treasurer for the official record keeping. And then eventually you will get that physical piece of paper. But and you can scan it, I said, and or you can take a picture and email it to the secretary or treasurer. So those are right now are acceptable.
Okay.
Yes.
So just for clarification.
Go ahead.
Okay. So just for clarification, who signs the minutes, the secretary or the president?
The secretary. The secretary is the official keeper of the minutes, and your minutes are approved at, so if we're having a meeting today, they will be approved at the next association meeting or executive board meeting, and any corrections will be noted on that copy, and then it will be signed and dated by your secretary, and that becomes the legal document. Yes, Angie.
There's also something I learned only last year, I think, that the treasurer's reports need to be signed as well. Oh. And the bank statements need to be signed by a non-check signer. They have to review your bank statements at the end of the month.
And that's usually the secretary. Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, usually the secretary's them. So, yeah, lots of details.
That's, yes, so that bank statements are a whole other ball of wax, and we'll go over that at the treasurer's training on Thursday and Saturday.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, Georgie.
Hey, I have a question about when you pass motions. Is it a majority vote always? Do bylaws specify how many votes you need? I don't think I saw anything in our bylaws, but I can look again.
Well, you always have to reach quorum.
Right.
Quorum, and your quorum is stated in your bylaws, and it's always half plus one. So if you have 20 as your quorum, you have to have a majority vote of 11 to pass a motion.
And that's true of board and general assembly meetings.
Exactly.
Great,
yes.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry, the quorum numbers are different though for each.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, sure.
Don't be shy. Anybody else?
Please make sure you have your bylaws. If they need to be updated, you can work with your parliamentarian. If you haven't appointed anyone, you can work with our council parliamentarian, with which right now the person sitting in the seat is Kitty Cahalan, but it's actually vacant. But she's helping to support us with that. So she can be your go-to support right now until we fulfill that vacancy.
I have more questions.
Yes, Terry, go for it.
Okay. Alison, I heard you say that we're going to vote in August about the Zoom account. So that'll be usable by all PTA units for our General Assembly meetings?
That's the goal. That'll be part of the budget that I bring forth. And so we just need the majority to vote on it.
And
So
that has translation?
Yes,
That have,
it
okay.
does. It's because it's actually an account for a nonprofit.
Okay.
So it has the interpretation feature. So that's the nice thing about it.
Yeah.
And we're actually borrowing one right now. So thank you, Jeff from Collaborate Pasadena, who also serves as our advocacy and legislation chair, who's helping us get going and get off the ground with our meetings. There is Jeff. Thank you. So yes, that is the goal, so we can better support our PTA units this year, is to have that as part of our budget.
I think there was a question earlier about what are other units doing to create community.
So,
help with community.
Xochitl, you want to talk about what Don Benito's doing?
Well, I mentioned I saw it earlier. So first, let me encourage you, if you have Facebook, a Facebook account for your PTA, or if you're more hip, an Instagram account for your PTA. I'm just learning Instagram now. So yes, I am the old lady. So, and let's not even talk about TikTok, because my kids are begging me not to get TikTok, okay?
It might be banned soon here.
So anyway, so if you have these social forums, use them. Just be careful with the pictures that you post of the children. If there's a doubt, email the picture to your principal so they can check the waiver of photographs that you can use, because that has to be signed at the beginning of the school year. But use those forums to say what's going on in your community. Give a shout out to this teacher. Give a shout out to your student. Give a shout out to one of your board members, or even one of your parents that you see is doing something amazing in your community. Build up that positivity, because it is contagious. We know that bad word of mouth goes like wildfire. So does positive stuff. And if you give a shout out to Carolina because she's doing something awesome at Longfellow, then someone will say, hey, I could do that with my group, and it'll just start spreading. So let's do that. Let's just be those octopuses that reach out those tentacles. But at Don Benito, I saw this morning on Facebook that they did a welcome bag, a little bag for their incoming kindergarten group. I think it was 75 or 80 bags. And in those bags, they included a school spirit shirt, a book, and there was something else that was fun. So 3 or 4 items in that book that were t-shirts, yes.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, let me show off my t-shirt. See, here's my pride. Yay!
Where's my t-shirt?
We got it delivered very late on Sunday.
Yeah, say that again.
So Don Benito had the staff deliver them to each of the kids' houses, and they showed it off on their Facebook page. We can all do that. Carolina for Longfellow, she changed the heading of their Facebook page to, no, I lied. Yes, she changed the Facebook page heading to a picture of their school, but she also posted, this is our PTA board this year, and did a quick little bio of who the auditor is, who the treasurer is, who our historian is. I'm sorry, not our, there. I'm still thinking I'm part of Longfellow because I've been there I was there for 10 years. Talk about ownership and pride. So do that. I mean, really put this good stuff out there. It's not bad for showing off, which brings me to this. I want to see selfies posted on our page. Take a selfie of you doing volunteer work for your PTA, for your units, for council, any volunteer work. We want to showcase you. We want to showcase the good stuff, especially in this time where not everybody's on their best.
Do you have a hashtag, Sochi, for that? Or?
Not yet. Create one and we'll put it out there.
Hashtag PTA Council. Hashtag PTA for Kids. There's a couple different ones that if you go on CAPTA and you look up like their publicity tools, there's some other PTA hashtags that are there as well you can take advantage of.
Thank you,
PTA Council Pasadena, PUSD Proud. There's a couple different ones, even our school district
Oh, I
uses.
like that one.
So absolutely take advantage and use those.
I was going to suggest for units, maybe having Zoom parent hours or maybe a Zoom coffee with your principal. Maybe that's
Oh,
a
that's a good
program
idea.
you can host for community building. I
Yeah,
also
that
put
would
in
be
the chat, have a Zoom Zumba, because I know I would love to go to a Zumba class. So that could be another way to build community.
Another suggestion was if you can create a virtual back to school presentation. So if there's someone who's got that time and will use their technology skills, create a a virtual back to school presentation, use pictures from your board to introduce them and say, hey, this is what we're promoting this year, and you can talk about membership, what's going on at your schools, when your meetings are, share about reflections. I think we really have a captive audience this year to really promote reflections with all of our kids at home, and hopefully with the teachers, it can be part of the extension of the classroom to really get students to do their projects and have a lot of more support to be able to get that done. So encourage the participation in that at your school site.
In one of these trainings that I've attended the past few weeks, one of the membership incentive, let me just touch upon this. For membership, one of the ideas was that the classroom who has the most PTA members, membership, they get to win a virtual art class. That's another way for you to increase community togetherness, is doing those kinds of incentives. It's not just the parents that you want, you want the extended family, the aunt, the uncle, the grandparents that live in another state. So the kids know that they're still being supported all over, not just by the parents in around them. And like I said, one of the incentives was winning an art class. It will be a virtual teacher during their class time or even after or in the evening. And logistically, I'm not sure how this will work, but each student will receive their art supplies either delivered to their home, or they could do like a drive-by pickup at the school site. So they have all the supplies they need for this class. So that's another idea.
Yes, Andy.
Do we know how the food pickup or dispersal is going to go during the school year? Because I had talked with another school about how they could volunteer for that dispersal, because they usually need volunteers. But I don't know if during the school year they need, but like wear your PTA shirt and like,
Is Jeff still online? I think he stepped away. I'm trying to see if there's
I'm hearing that we're not allowed on campus at all. But
no, but they did say that food service is ramping up right now to be able to provide meals at the different school sites. Let me see if I can stop sharing
now it'll
my
be on
screen.
every school site, right? So it'll be.
No, I think there was like 11. Was there like 11?
Well, over the summer, but I imagine now it'll be at every site. I imagine because they're going to. Oh, well, I don't know. Actually, I'm getting confused because I'm thinking.
So this is what I understand.
Yeah.
This is what I understand is that every school will have their lunchroom or their lunch staff. Lunch will be provided as a grab and go bag. So as they're walking out, they're grabbing their lunch to eat at home.
But they're not there now. I was confusing with in person. We're still going to be remote for a while. So maybe it's still.
I'm sorry, you cut out, Angie. Tell me again.
Well, I mean, I think I was confusing that now with the hybrid in person, but we're not doing that now.
No, we're not doing that.
So the students won't be out on their campuses. So maybe it's just going to be the same 11 campuses.
Oh.
I'll get clarification. I have a meeting to attend on Wednesday morning.
Okay.
And I'll be sure to ask that because there will be some district personnel online. So we can get clarification on that. Because right now we've just, PTA has been helping us volunteers to staff those grab and goes. But I'll be able to find that out. I made a note of that so I can follow up with everybody and let you know if your school site happens to be one of the grab and go locations.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem at all. Okay, let's see. Anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to become an increasingly important issue on whether we can go out and get beyond site. But
I would agree.
I just know, like Elliott, they have their garden, right? So, and I think a lot of the schools have gardens. So that's another way to like maybe have a fundraiser or just a community event by giving out food, you know, that. So, but.
Yeah. So much to think about, Angie.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
Well,
I
you
have
know,
a
you
question.
get impatient.
Yes, Georgie?
I got to be patient.
Yes, Georgie?
Are we allowed to have like Venmo accounts? I know for membership, we're going to do Totem, but if we're selling t-shirts and stuff, are we allowed to create Venmo accounts or stuff like that? How do schools collect money on that stuff that normally might have just been a cash payment?
So Kitty just got online and I'd love for her to address this.
Perfect timing.
Yes.
I'm the Blair president this year, and I'm interim parliamentarian because you're not supposed to be a council officer and a unit president at the same time. So, so I'm just filling in until we get the qualified person in place. And we do not have Venmo. We have PayPal, but you can use Venmo. You just want to make sure that it is. So I'll give you the correct answer, and then I'll give you the answer that people use anyway. PTAs are supposed to have, if you are doing electronic transactions, you are supposed to have a dedicated account for electronic transactions. So the correct advice to give you is you can open up a second account, and that account is purely for PayPal, Venmo. I would hook up your Totem account with that. And then you can transfer money from that account into your regular bank account. Obviously, your auditor needs to do audits of every single bank account. The audits are of the bank accounts. And so they're, you know, comparing the treasurer records to each of the bank accounts transactions. That is a safer way to do the money so that if somebody breaks into it, they can't drain your entire PTA account. So I would recommend doing that. There are PTAs doing it the not right way and having those PayPal or so we have at Blair, we need to set up our electronic use account. We do PayPal, Totem, and eScript.
Amazon Smile.
Amazon Smile, and there's one other that pays us. Square. So we have Square for our school store, and all of those deposit directly into our bank account. Obviously, those transactions are recorded as part of our audit, and the treasurer is supposed to be keeping track of like what that transaction is. So, you know, this one. I was Blair treasurer a few years ago, and you know, you get this like big old ball of Square stuff, and then you would have to like break it out. Okay, that was this much of that transaction was t-shirts, this much of that was memberships, this much of that was the cost that we had to pay back to Square for doing the service. Yes, the answer is yes, but it's best if you can open up a second bank account for the electronic transactions.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Thanks a
you,
lot.
Kitty, for being online.
I want to say don't Zelle. I would not Zelle because Zelle is not protected the way PayPal or Venmo are. So, I would not Zelle, and B, you cannot make any payments ever with a bank account electronically. Like literally the only way that you can actually pay somebody through PTA is through a paper check, because a paper check is the only way that you can get the double signature. So that ends up falling on whichever of your board members has the most credit on their credit card, maybe, so that they can get reimbursed in time. But if you have this electronic use account, the money only comes in, and the only money that goes out is money that you're transferring to the other account. And then the treasurer's report needs to make sure that every treasurer's report should have both accounts. so that you can see, like, you know, okay, we transferred $500 worth of membership from the electronic use account into the general fund account. So you want to make sure you're keeping track of all that, but no payments for stuff should be coming out of any bank accounts.
Kitty, so for clarification, if we're setting up a Venmo, we can go ahead and set it up, but just link it to the PTA bank account number.
That's correct. Anything that's being paid to PTA should go straight into the PTA bank account.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
And
a separate bank account. But a separate bank account now, not.
It should be a separate bank account. It should be. So that's just, you know, that's the language I'm using. It should be a separate bank.
Thank you.
I want to touch a little bit. I went to the treasurer training a couple weeks ago from CAPTA, and right now during this time, and only during this time, National PTA is okaying paying any type of bill, not any time, PTA bills, if you can, through your bank bill paying services. But your association has to approve it. And we'll go more into detail of that, but just so you are aware as presidents, with the treasurers, we'll go into it on Thursday. But only during this crisis time is that allowed. And there is a paper trail with that. You just have to set it up with your bank. You can download and print receipts from that, and and attach it to your treasurer binder. So as long as there's a paper trail, you can use those bill paying services.
Okay. Any other questions for the good of the order? Well, again, it is 11:20, so we finished a little bit early, but again, I want to just thank you on behalf of PTA Council of Pasadena for your time, for your leadership, and know that we are here to support you this entire school year. You have our council officer information, our emails, and our cell phone numbers. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. There is no dumb questions at all. I've sat in your shoes, and now I'm sitting in this shoe. As Jeff said, they trapped me. So I hope that you guys will, you know, feel empowered to inspire, to connect, and to engage. And again, thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
So before you go, I want to take a selfie with you guys so I can put up on our PTA Council Facebook page, and I expect to see your selfies as well. So big smiles.
Quick question before any of you guys go.
Go.
I was unable to join most of the meeting, and I was wondering if most of the information that you guys had is available to download or to have. I see that the meeting was being recorded. Is that something that could be watched later?
Yes, we'll make the recording available. I'll email it to you as well, and I'll also put it up on our council website.
Awesome, thank you.
And I wanted to put in a plug for you presidents. If you don't have a parliamentarian to send to the parliamentarian training on Saturday morning, then it's not a bad idea to come to that yourself. It's scheduled from 10 to 12. I don't think it'll take that long. The presentation I'm putting together will take probably an hour, a little less. And it's really important to understand your bylaws and understand who keeps track of the rules. So, so you can sign up for Saturday and then just ask to be put into that breakout room.
I want to put in a plug as well for auditors. Auditors get appointed by the president as well, right?
Depends on your bylaws.
Okay.
Some auditors are elected and some are appointed.
Well, when I went through PTEZ, I noticed quite a few units don't have auditors noted. So please make sure you get that designated, because the audit will be here before you know it. And then I don't know if we could have a quick introduction for everyone, or
Sure, Angie, can I ask you a quick follow-up question?
Yeah.
Do you want our auditors to come to the treasurer training as well?
I would love them to come,
Should.
just so that they're aware of all the elements that the treasurer is, because that's what they're going to be reviewing.
It's generally financial training, and so the auditors should know what they're supposed to be looking at. They should know what records the treasurer is supposed to keep and how they're supposed to be kept, and what to do. If you don't have an auditor, then you can put together you actually should have an auditor's committee anyway. So even if your auditor is not a licensed CPA, then after the person who's designated, whose job it is to do the audit, then a committee, which is appointed by the board, and should not include anybody related to a check signer by blood, family, or blood, marriage, or household. But they don't have to be board member, but they can be otherwise, reviews the audit in detail before it's presented to the association for adoption. If you don't have an appointed auditor, then the auditor committee can do the audit. But you want to make sure that there are multiple eyes looking at that audit before it goes to the unit for adoption.
And I want to remind you all, Friday, we actually have Canvas training. So please share this with your entire school community. We have district staff who are leading that. So that'll be this Friday from 10 to 12. I'm hearing that there's even some teachers who are going to be joining us because they are not as familiar with Canvas. So I'm excited that our council is able to partner with our district and offer this right before the start of school. So if you have children in the school district, you know, please get on there so you can better assist them, and please let your entire school community know. They can just register on the Eventbrite link, so that'll give them the Zoom link so that they can log in for Friday's Canvas training. So again, someone asked if we could just quickly go around and just introduce ourselves. So Angie, would you like to start?
Yes, I will. It's my bright idea. So, I'm Angie Uriu. I am your council treasurer. So some of you have gotten emails from me already. I also am the treasurer for John Muir High School.